118-97 last night. First things first, co-host Chris Broussard joins us now. Chris, will Simmons ever play for the Sixers again?
Look, I know the common answer out there is no, but this is obviously tough to call. As all of us said about a month ago, this is the ultimate game of chicken. And I know that Ben Simmons is dug in, that he will never play for the 76ers again. The problem is Daryl Morey, the GM in Philadelphia, he's just as dug in. And Daryl Morey is like, I am not trading him for 25 cents on the dollar. In fact, Morey right now, he's not even trying to get $1 for $1. He's trying to get $1.50 and give you $1. All right, so he's got a long way to go before he's willing to trade Ben Simmons for the type of offers that are out there. So when you've got two sides that are this dug in, I would go with the side that has the most leverage, and I think that's Philadelphia. So I'm going to say he will have to play for them again at some point, unless somehow they get an equal deal or, you know, a good deal that Philadelphia is willing to do before he's traded. But I don't see that type of deal manifesting itself. Damian Lillard, like right now, Daryl Morey wants Damian Lillard or Bradley Beal. Washington looked pretty good last night with Bradley Beal. Dame Dollar has said, I'm staying in Portland. And I think that's where his heart's always been. Like, win or lose, I'm here. This is my team. This is my town. Yep. I'm going to go for it here. So I don't think that Morey will just move him out of pressure. And, you know, Ben has already shown that he will crack before Daryl Morey because he said he would never, or the reports were he would never go to training camp. And lo and behold, he's there at training camp. All right, and so we have to remember this. Ben Simmons, yes, he's in the first year or now the second year of a 5-year, $177 million deal. But his first 4 years in the league, guys, he made between $6 and $8 million a year. Obviously good money, but not relatively speaking, right? He didn't get, like, he's just in that big contract. So last year was the only year he got the $30 million. So that's why this money, whereas a Kyrie Irving can say, I'll let the $17 million go. I don't know that Ben's willing to do that, understandably, because he hadn't really collected all of the bag yet. And so they've got the leverage in Philly, and I think at this point, Daryl Morey is willing to use it. The other thing is, we saw last night, look, beating New Orleans, especially without Zion, is no big deal. But the Sixers, what if they start 6-2, 9-3? You know, and last night, they're not better without Ben Simmons. But they got 42 points and 10 assists from the point guard position. Between Tyrese Maxey and the Ferkman Korkmaz was kind of filling in at point guard, and he had 22 and 5. And so I think the leverage swings even more in Philly's favor if they somehow are playing well and winning a lot of games without Ben Simmons.
I got a better question for you, Chris. Why would you want him back? After all that he said, after all that you said, why would you want him there? I understand about the team dinner and trying to ease the tension, but how do you get the elephant out the room if the elephant isn't there in the room with you? What are you celebrating? The problem, the person that's causing the issue or the person that has the problem is in Philly. So what happens when you get back to Philly and he's at a game? Do you want? I don't want a situation where he did with James Harden, because I think James Harden at point last year he just gave up and said, you know what, I'm gonna go out here, but y'all can tell by my body language I'm not playing hard. I don't think anybody wins in that situation, especially the player. The player looks bad because, you know, fans are normally going to side. The fans will always side with the owners. I don't know how the owners have been able to convince the fans that they're always in the right and the player's always in the wrong, even though they trade players, but a player can't request a trade. So for me, Chris and Skip, I just don't get why you would want him back, knowing he doesn't want to be back, knowing your star player, Joel Embiid, doesn't want him back, knowing that Ben Simmons does not like Joel Embiid, and I'm not so sure that he trusts Doc Rivers and what he's telling him. So for me, I would just go ahead and move him to have, you talk about It eased the tension, Skip, and it made it all of a sudden enjoyable again. Well, just imagine how enjoyable it would be if Ben Simmons is no longer there. I think everybody wins in the end in that situation. And I know it's hard because you're never going to get equal value back. You're not. They don't normally trade superstar for superstar. You don't normally trade a Dame Lillard for a Ben Simmons or a Bradley Beal for a Ben Simmons. Normally, you got to take draft picks and a tier lower player for a guy of this caliber. So for me, I just think the longer this goes on, it's not going to end well for either party because, you know, Ben's going to end up bucking again. Get in there, Ben. You're going to be practicing. You're going to have a jersey in his pocket. Pretty soon he might whip out a flip phone. Yeah, man, Doc got me in here going through these practices. I'm just going through the motion, man. I ain't feeling it like that.
I am with Chris Broussard on everything he just said because it's basically what I told you earlier in the show. I believe it's now advantage Sixers. I believe the leverage has now eked over to Philadelphia's management and goes all the way to Josh Harris at the top of ownership. They are at least as dug in as Ben is at this point. And I believe that last night, albeit in New Orleans against a team without Zion, it was a big deal that on body language, the Sixers showed you we don't need him. I also think it showed you we don't even want him here because the dinner, you said the elephant in the room. Well, the reason it was such a happy dinner, team bonding, is that the elephant wasn't in the room.
Exactly.
Okay? So the point was they sort of cleared their own heads and air without him, but he's going to have little to no choice but to come back and try to regain his value in the eyes of other GMs, as Chris pointed out yesterday. Big issues about him. Does still have the free throw demons, right?
You know what?
So if you want to drive the car before you buy it, well, he's got to go show you it still runs, you know, like it still goes.
You know what, Chris? You know what? I'm going to agree with you guys. If I'm Ben Simmons, I'm coming back. Y'all want your boy to shoot threes? I'm letting them threes go like Spice Adams. Wop, wop. Wop, wop, I'm letting 30-footers go left and right.
Well, you know what? That might be a good thing.
You know what I'm saying? Chris Broussard, after I shoot about 3 or 4 of these old Spice Adam threes, clang nothing but backboard, Doc go call time out, Ben, come sit down by me. Okay.
I've seen a bunch of videos, off-season videos. He swishes.
Yeah, no, I ain't trying to swish. Okay. I ain't trying to swish.
Oh, so you're going to try to sabotage?
No, Skip. No, somebody else going to get this good loving. You didn't want me. You already told me you didn't want me anymore. So somebody else going to get all my love and affection. So somebody else going to get these threes I've been practicing on.
Okay, remember, you're going to have to play your way out of Philadelphia. You can't act your way out because if you try to act your way out, you're going to make yourself untradeable because nobody is going to want a bad actor on their team.
Hey, Rich, tell them I'm just doing this so I can get out. But let me ask you a question. Chris, hold on. They play tomorrow night. They play the Nets. In the starting lineup, a 6'10" from LSU, Ben Simmons. What type of ovation you think he going to get at home, Chris?
Oh. It'll be bad. I mean, it will be bad. And I don't think Ben can handle that.
No!
I really don't. I mean, everybody I've talked to in Philly thinks the fans there are going to crush him.
They are.
Unless, you know, he makes amends beforehand. And I don't think, I mean, we saw him crack mentally last year in the playoffs. And throughout his career, he hasn't gotten over the mental block to at least try jump shots. And so that would be crushing. I don't even think that's good for Philadelphia. Like the organization, as much as they want to win this thing, I don't think that's good for them to have Ben go out there and get booed to no end. So, Shannon, you asked why would Philadelphia want him back, and I get it. If I'm Joel Embiid, even if I'm Doc Rivers at this point, I'm probably saying, if we can get a good player for Ben, let's do it. But Daryl Morey looks at Ben, and I hate this language, but he looks at him as an asset. And Daryl doesn't want to get rid of that asset without getting a good return. That's it. I think at this point, that's all it is. I'm not going to get rid of this who can bring me back good things until I can get those good pieces. And so, and then, look, I think maybe the move for Ben, I hate to say this, might be to fake an injury. That probably should have been the move rather than to act up. And I don't know if you could do it. If I'm Philadelphia and he fakes an injury, I'm challenging it. I'm going to the league like, look, we don't think he's hurt. Our doctors say he's not hurt.
My feelings. You can't
and we don't want to pay him.
Well, my feelings hurt, Chris Broussard. You can't mention where the MRI gonna tell you how my feelings. You ain't got no MRI. That's what I'm doing, Skip. I'm getting up out of here.
I got one last